Hey, what's good, y'all? This is your girl Jay, and welcome to Impact Baldwin, the podcast that's the realest, the chillest, and the illest podcast on the series at this current moment. Thank you for checking out Impact Baldwin, and thank you for being a listener. Okay, so today on Impact Baldwin, we have no other than my guy Calvin Landry. He is the owner, creator, and brand of AuCourant Pro Services. We're going to introduce Calvin, and we're going to let Calvin talk about his brand. Before we do all that, we're going to first say justice for Quan Charles. Even though someone in Quan Charles' case has been arrested, he still has not deserved the justice that he deserves, and they still haven't said all the facts to the story. So still justice for Quan Charles, and I like to say justice for all other Black and people of color that's been murdered senselessly by police officers or anybody else that is not even by other Black people. So justice for all those people, for sure. All right, so Calvin, thank you for coming to the show today. Thank you for being a
Anytime.
guest.
Anytime.
Um, First, we're going to talk about you. Tell us a little something personal about you, Mr. Landry. Where are you from? Accolades, just anything you want us to know about you, so we can get personal before we get to your brand.
I'm from Baldwin, Louisiana. Graduate of West St. Mary High School, class of 2004.
Okay.
Um, After high school, I studied education and human resources. Um, this pretty much, worked in banking for about 9 years, customer service, and I just kind of developed a passion for helping people. So that's where uh, the birth of my business came from, brainstorming, writing resumes for friends and family, and it just became a passion over time.
Okay, so tell us what AuCourant stands for. Like, where did the
AuCourant,
name come from?
AuCourant stands for or be current or um, up to date
Okay.
in French. And it kind of falls in line with what I do. I want to keep people current on um, their skill sets, improving their skill sets, making sure that they are, what's the word I'm looking for? Making sure that they're marketable and they can compete when they go out into the world to look for employment.
Got you. So tell us exactly what AuCourant Pro Services offer. What can we look forward to when we come and want your services? We seek your services.
As far as now, right now, I offer resume writing and cover letter writing, also interview coaching or interview prepping. But it's more of a process, just kind of getting to know you as a client and figuring out also, what's your career path or what are your career goals, so I can kind of in so many words, I can lead you in the right direction.
Got you.
Eventually, I want to go into other services as far as like tax preparing. I'm working on becoming a notary for the state of Texas.
Okay.
And also, will be enrolling in a certification and become a career coach as well. So it's going to be a number of services that I will be offering in the near future.
Oh, that sounds very interesting. I mean, like career coaching, everybody needs that type of career coaching. I'm sure you can give us the similarities and differences from career coaching and just like mental health therapists and stuff like that. So I know that would be career coaching, basically be coaching you through your career. But some people career are their lives, you understand what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
sometimes they need that career coach not to only be strictly about their business. Sometimes we need our career coaches to be about our mental health within our career as well. So being a career coach, what things would be offered? What things would people look forward to when they want to enlist in a career coach?
Well, most people think of career, when people think about career coaching, usually the first thing that comes to mind is helping you find a career or a job,
Hmm.
and that's it. But it's pretty much an ongoing service. Not just helping you find something, but helping you progress and grow within your career as well. A lot of advice about how to attain promotions and just different things about, how to handle conflict resolution on the job, how
Right.
to negotiate pay, how to, um, you know, what to expect from, human resources, and what are your rights, as a employee on the job. So it's a lot of things that go into career coaching. It's just not about finding a job, but it's about, being successful at that job
And
itself.
I like that you said that, because some people do not know that you can, you know, you don't have to accept the salary that's given to you. You can negotiate your salary. Some people are like afraid of me of saying anything about their salary because they feel like, oh, they think all I want to come on a job is for money. But when you're getting a career and you're going into your career, you want the best option to be able to provide for yourself as well as provide for your family, and you don't want to be living from check to check, and you should be paid what you deserve for what you offer to that company.
Well, a lot of people don't know that
Yeah.
when you accept a job, that most employers are expecting you to negotiate.
Mm-hmm.
They never expect you to take the first thing offered.
Right.
So they're already going into the negotiation expecting you to want to kind of, play with the offer a little. So some people kind of settle, and when they settle, it just kind of plays right into the employer's hands. But um, employers actually expect new candidates to negotiate their pay.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. I know a lot of people that didn't know that. It was like, oh, you go in there and do that. They're going to be like, all you want is money. And I'm like, no, you should get what you deserve. You should be paid off based off your, not just your accolades, your education, but what you can give to that company, what you provide for that company. You shouldn't just be getting a base pay, and you go in and say that, hey, I'm not going to negotiate my pay, and you get the minimum paid, and someone else comes that's less qualified than you, and they negotiate their pay, and you find out they're getting paid more than you. Now you're going to be upset and be like, well, I should have negotiated my pay. That's what I be trying to tell people. So
And just like anything else in life, I guess that's where I would step in, is to teach people how to go about negotiating their pay. Is a process, is a more professional way to handle it. And of course, it involves, a lot of paper trail. So, writing those type of, letters, negotiation letters, expecting a certain pay and explaining why you feel you deserve that pay. That's very important. So that's where I would come in with my service.
definitely. Okay, so tell us some of your long-term goals. Well, you did give us some of your short-term goals and your long-term goals, but where do you see AuCourant Services, like Pro Services, like in the future? Like, what is your ultimate goal for your brand?
Um, to continue growing, of course, but I would love to work with, I guess you can say, nonprofits.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to. One of my bigger goals is to kind of work with programs that help people get reacclimated to living, on the outside world after incarceration.
Okay.
I believe a lot of people don't understand that, once a person has been, incarcerated for a number of years, it's an adjustment when they get out. So I would like to teach those guys, well, not just guys, but females, of course, but
Mm-hmm.
I would like to teach those people, skills, life skills, once they, come back on the outside, as far as, financial management and, interview skills and, just different things that's going to, help them be more successful and have a reason to stay out of, prison or jail, wherever they came from.
Right.
So that's one of my bigger goals that I look forward to actually seeing coming to fruition.
Definitely. You definitely answered my next question. Like, what was the audience that you're trying to reach? And you said about incarcerated and those that less fortunately that don't have the resources to actually get those services. People that don't know where to go and what's the first place to look when I'm trying to make a resume or trying to get my credit fixed, or I'm trying to trying to go into
Yeah.
my career. So
And
definitely.
the reason why I chose, that group of people is because the most people that's kind of forgotten about.
Mm-hmm.
People don't think of them, a lot because, they have a criminal record and people probably feel like they don't deserve another chance. Um, Working with, everybody else, I guess, with working with the kids, high school kids, and, a lot of other people that, we may consider to be less fortunate. In a sense, they're really not that less fortunate
Mm-hmm.
when comparing it to, that situation of being behind bars for 20 years and, just kind of getting out and you really don't know where to start.
Right.
So that's kind of the passion behind why I would like to work with them.
Okay. So when most people are looking for services, we mostly look for reviews. We mostly look for the success rate. So can you give us any type of success rate that you've had so far with your business and the things that you offer?
I base my success off of the relationships that I build with my clients.
Mm-hmm.
Um, for the most part, I still keep in contact with them. We, uh, have kind of gained a close rapport working with each other. So for me, it's taking the client through the process of actually looking for a job, getting past that part of, getting the interview and preparing them for getting the job as well. So for the most part, I look at how many interviews that my clients get.
Okay.
So I can say I have maybe a 75% success rate with getting people interviews
That's good.
as of late. And I started in February. So
Mm-hmm.
I've been managing, I can say I've been averaging about 3 to 4 resumes a week since then.
That is
Um,
great.
so 75%, I can say, have been getting interviews. Now, some people follow up. I try to follow up as much as I can with the clients and make sure that they're prepared for an interview. But there's only so much I can do. The rest of it is left
It's
up to
down.
them.
Mm.
But yeah, as long as I get an interview opportunity for you, I feel like
That's
um,
successful.
I'm doing a good job.
Definitely successful. Very successful. Okay. So lastly, let me ask you this. What inspired you to create your band? Because it's always something that inspires us to do what we did. Like even if it's just I'm sitting here and saying that, you know what, I see this going on in the world and this is what I want to do and this is how I want to bring light to that. What inspired you to create AuCourant Pro Services?
After working in banking for 9 years, I kind of worked my way up through the ranks with leadership positions, and I've always worked very closely with my supervisors and managers. And I never forget one of my first branch manager would call me in and ask me to, overlook a resume, that type of thing. And that's where it started because that's when I realized there was a need for it. A lot of people, um, after you've left high school and you've been working, how many people think about writing a resume? And when you do decide to write one, it's because you need to write one.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people really don't have those skills. They really don't know how to go about doing it. And I guess just myself as a person, I've always carried myself in a professional manner to where everything that I present, I put a lot of thought into it. So I would like to kind of pass that on to other people. Whenever you're presenting yourself for, a job opportunity, everything must be polished. Everything, you do must, have a stamp on it. That's your brand. So just kind of helping people clean up, that skill and making sure that they understand why it's important, to highlight certain things and the way the wording and the verbiage and, even in your interview, the way you dress and the way you speak is important.
Mm-hmm.
It one thing could, you know, be the determining factor to you not getting a job. So just kind of passing on that knowledge um, is a real big thing to me.
Gotcha. Definitely, I definitely like what you're doing, and I definitely see the growth in it since you started into now. And man, a lot of people do need these services, especially during a global pandemic where a lot of people lost their jobs, and they're trying to get back on track and trying to refresh their resume and stuff like that. So definitely appreciate what you're doing, for sure.
Yeah, that was the thing for me. I had been writing resumes for quite some time, and I think when people realized that I had a knack for it, they started, coming to me, asking me for, assistance during the pandemic.
Mm.
There are people who I've been helping. They've only had one job for maybe 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
So they're like, well, I have no idea how to even write a resume. I've never had a need for one. So that kind of made me, pull my bootstraps up and just kind of say, okay, these people need help. You can't just, give them the basics. You want to actually give them something that,
Something. Yeah,
they can go
definitely.
out and get a job with.
Yeah. Totally understand that. Totally seen a lot of people lose their jobs. And especially where we're from, most people work at the same spot. And that spot, like, laid off a lot of people that's been working there for years, you know. So then they
Yeah.
scramble to try to figure out what's my next option, Do I go back when they offer to come back, or do I go into something that I've been wanting to do forever? So
Yeah.
definitely understand, definitely get that. All right, all right. So, I like to go into this. We talked about your brand, and I want to get into a segment that I say, let's talk politics. Now, we're not going to go too deep into politics. Basically, you basically just answered my first question that I wanted to ask about in the politics, and we have been going through a global pandemic. So I always ask everybody, how did this global pandemic, the COVID-19, how did it affect your brand and business? Did it positively affect it, or did it negatively affect it? Like, what is your stance on COVID?
Well, before COVID, I didn't have a business. So
Got you.
because of COVID, I have one.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for me, it just kind of, opened the door that I didn't know existed.
Right.
I think we all have our gifts and talents, and sometimes we get caught up in just working, or if you have a family, you're taking care of your kids, and you kind of put your aspirations to the side.
Mm-hmm.
And with COVID, we had so much time to kind of sit around and just think about things. And I think that that's how a lot of people got into things that they really love, or things that they always had a passion for. And they couldn't, follow it because of, life's obligations. So for me, like I said, it just opened a door for me. And, one door always, leads to another door. So
Yeah.
it started with, me writing resumes and cover letters. And now I'm looking at, becoming a notary, and, even becoming a tax preparer. Like, I always thought things like that were boring,
Right.
but when I started to research and I learned the importance of them, I'm like, is this not about me, but it's about, being a service to other people as well.
Right.
So it's like, one thing leads to another. It never just stops with the beginning idea. It's kind of, you're constantly building, one idea on top of the other.
Another. Yeah, definitely. And I like what you said, that it COVID has birthed so many creators and cultivators since last March. I always said that I never thought that I would have a podcast, and I'm a long-winded person, but when COVID came, I had to figure out some things of what I wanted to do. Like, COVID didn't affect me financially based off of my job because I'm an essential worker, but creatively, man, I've learned how to do podcasts. I learned how to do videos. I learned how to edit videos. I learned how to do stuff that I always wanted to do. I just never had the time. So COVID really slowed a lot of us down and gave us a lot of ideas, and we put those ideas into fruition, and look at us now. All of us are successful. All of us are doing things that we never thought we would be able to do. So in essential, in aspect, COVID was a blessing. I mean, and some people it was, a curse, but some of us, COVID had favor on us because it taught us how to be entrepreneurs. It taught us how to be influencers. It taught us how to get closer with our families of anything. So I'm not gonna say I'm grateful for COVID, but kind of thankful that it came and it slowed us down a little bit, a tad bit, so we can see the things that we had to offer for our communities.
Yeah.
Definitely. Okay. So I have two more questions in the politics section, and I always ask everybody, and it's just not men, and it's mostly affected to you black men in America, but how does it feel being a black male in current America with the current situations that's going on right now?
I would definitely be lying if I said I wasn't affected by the current situation. Um, it's a very emotional thing,
Mm-hmm.
because when people see you, and they look at you, they don't know anything about you. They don't know that, you're an uncle or a brother, or that you're educated, or, they don't know anything about you. They look at the tone of your skin, and depending on the situation, you may or may not leave that situation alive.
Right.
It's a very scary thing. It's something that you kind of carry with you every day. I mean, we have to be out, in society. We have to, you know, transport from one place to the other. You just never know when it's going to happen. All of the victims that this has happened to, I'm pretty sure they never would have guessed that they would have been
They
a
would
victim
have been
to.
one of those victims, or they would have
Exactly. So
been a
it's something.
statistic.
It's a very heavy feeling.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing that anybody can say to ease it. It's like having a pain that you can't put a finger on it.
Right.
It affects you in so many different
is
ways.
is it's there, and it is not going anywhere, but you have to continue
Exactly.
going on with life, knowing that this is affecting my people more than it's affecting anybody in the world. But and they make it seem like it's okay, get over it. It's not just happening to y'all, it's happening to everybody else.
The only thing I can say, and I had made a post about it on Instagram a few days ago, that in the midst of all of this, we still control the narrative.
Definitely.
You still control the type of person you are. You still control, how you react to things. You still control, um, you know, where you want to go, with your life, if that makes sense.
Right.
So we can't let, people step in and control a narrative, and, with these assumptions and stereotypes, and
We have
just don't let that bother you.
exactly. And if the last election and the senatorial election didn't prove anything, it proves that when we come and put our minds together and we get together and actually put our mind to something, like, we can make a difference. I know people will be saying like, hey, voting is just a slow process, but it changes things. We get people in places that we need to make changes for us, and if those people don't make changes, we vote them out and we put someone else in that's going to make changes for us. But we got to continuously striving for change. We can't do it just one time because we wanted one person out. We have to do it every time. Every time voting comes up, we need to vote. Every time something needs to be changed, we need to be, there at the meetings and trying to change stuff so things can be different within our communities. And that's just not on the federal and state level. That is on our local community levels as well.
Well, the thing about this election, even though I was very pleased with the outcome of it, the outcome that I was very pleased with was that it was more of an educational
Yep.
opportunity for people. There are people who had no idea how, they didn't know how voting worked. They
Right.
didn't know how the electoral college worked.
Yep.
So because the process was so long and drawn out, you had no choice but to kind of pay attention to what was happening and how it was happening, and you had to kind of figure out, what was the outcome going to be if this happened or if that
Right.
happened. So I don't think people really understood how voting worked. And I think that it's kind of the same thing with a lot of things in our country. Things that we don't know, people use against us.
Right.
So nobody really, took the time to figure out how voting worked. You become an adult at 18 and you're allowed to vote, and that's all you know is
Right.
that you're allowed to vote. People don't understand that the voting that directly impacts them is on their local government,
It definitely does.
level.
Yeah.
So I think now, hopefully, people have taken, a lot of knowledge from this and they understand how voting works. It's just not about casting a ballot. It's understanding and knowing how the system works in order to beat it. The only way you can defeat the system is by learning it and playing by their rules.
Exactly.
And that's what we did this
We
election. We
definitely
played by
did.
the rules, and we won.
We won, and now they're trying to change the rules because we won. That's the crazy thing. At
But
first, he said,
if they change the rules, then we just go with the
"Go
flow.
go with the flow," and just definitely,
Exactly.
definitely, definitely, definitely. Okay, so to get out of the politics time, we're gonna go into this the most important time of Impact Baldwin, and it's Impact Baldwin time. I ask questions based off of your experiences within the community. How can we change our community? I compile all these things up when I talk to different people and try to brainstorm ways that we can make a difference within our community, even if we don't live there, if that makes sense.
Uh-huh.
So tell me, how have you impact Baldwin, Louisiana? Since you are a native of Baldwin, tell me how you impact your community, or how would you impact your community?
Only thing I can say is I would like to impact my community by, showcasing that it can be done. Our area is a very rural area. For God's sakes, we only have one traffic light.
One.
So I mean, when people think about, even a lot of my friends, that's from other cities and states, like when people think about, those rural areas, they don't think the highest of us. They don't think, the most of us. Not necessarily that we're bad people, but sometimes they don't think that we're educated. Sometimes that we just don't have it in us to, be more.
Right.
So whenever I'm out, I would like to think that I am a representation of where I come from. So me living here in Houston, me living in Dallas at some point, me even, teaching overseas at some point, I always had in mind that I represented the people, the place where I came from. So I knew, if nobody else cared what I was doing, or nobody else, was watching what I was doing, I knew eyes, from back home were watching me.
Right, definitely.
How I carried myself.
Definitely.
So just kind of, not necessarily trying to tell people you have to do this, you have to do that. I just feel like whatever it is that you choose to do, just present your best self while doing it.
Right.
That's if you are a janitor. That's if you are, your nurse's aide. If you are, a cashier at Walmart, whatever it is that you decide to do, whatever you feel that's, your passion and that's your lot in life, just present your best self while doing it. I think that that's the best advice that I could give, people, not just where I'm from, but just anybody.
Definitely. So what changes would you like to see in the town of Baldwin made?
Of course, I would like to say I wish it would go back to the way it was when we were, kids, but
Definitely.
more community, a lot of community projects, a lot of children, oriented type activities to get the kids kind of, back on track to where they need to be. I would also like to see the adults, kind of take, some type of responsibility to understanding the world that our kids live in today.
Right.
A lot of older people, like to say, oh, the way we were raised, but the way we were raised can't be effective in today's world.
No, not at all.
It's a completely different world, and I think it's time for people to try to start understanding our teenagers and our young adults and the things that they face. The things that they face, are completely different from the things that we faced, at their ages. And I think it's going to take for people to kind of get out of their ways and stuck in certain traditions. Some of that stuff have to be let go in order to understand what the kids are going through in today's world.
Definitely agree with that, because I always say that the older generation just don't accept the millennials and the generation X, Y, and Z. They don't accept them because they think that they're different, and when older people are set in their ways, they want things to continue being the way that they were. But we all evolve, things all grow, things got to be different. The limbs on the trees break. The when it turns from fall to spring, the grass on the trees, the leaves on the trees fall off. So everything evolves, everything leaves, and it comes, sometimes it comes back in full circle. But with this new generation, they're just different thinkers, very much different thinkers. They're very open-minded. They're very open to different things and trying different things. And if we don't get a handle on accepting and respecting them, then they will always feel like they're disrespectful, or they just don't know, and they're just wild and crazy. But that's not wild and crazy to us, because
No.
we grew up in that generation. So
It's just a matter of at least trying to understand them.
right.
It's a different world. And like I said, they face different problems and different challenges. And the only way we can help them is if we kind of, join, whatever they're going through.
And listen to them, basically.
Exactly.
Listen to them. Listen to what they have to say and learn from them. Be open-minded about what they're saying and the differences and the change that they want to be made, because essentially they will be our presidents, they will be our senators, they will be our mayors, they will be our judges. So eventually you're gonna have to listen to them. Eventually, if something happens to one of your family members, you're gonna have to go through them or us. So we just learn from them. All right. Yeah. So my next question is, if you had $1 million, how would you impact your community? What would you do with that $1 million to bring some type of impact to Baltimore, Louisiana?
I will open a center. Just a center, maybe like a safe haven for kids, young adults, just to be able to come somewhere where they can get, certain services and things that they need that they can't find anywhere else. And that could be a number of things, from even, there's so much, to do with mental health and
definitely.
So I just would like to see, somewhere where people can go and, be in a safe space, no matter what it is, that they're going through. Just be in a safe environment to where they can trust the people that they're working with, and they can feel okay and, not feel ridiculed or, turned away. I see that a lot,
Right.
So I think that would be most likely the first thing I would do. It would be geared toward creating a safe haven for people.
Definitely. We definitely need that. We definitely need safe haven there. We definitely need therapists there. We definitely need to talk about mental health in our community, because it's really, and I'm not going to just say in that community, it's in the Black community, because, a lot of Black people feel like they don't need mental health counseling. They don't need therapy. They're fine. It's frowned upon. So I definitely agree with that. Definitely see that we need more of that in our community. Just being raised in that community. And when I told some of my family members, like, yeah, I go to therapy, and it's like, you go to therapy? What do you need therapy for? I just need somebody.
What don't I need therapy?
Yeah. I need to talk to someone. If I didn't think I needed therapy, I wouldn't go to therapy, Like, I just need a different perspective. I want to feel, you know what I want? Honestly, I want to know if I'm crazy or not, or if I'm tripping or not, you know?
Well, this is the thing, a lot of people think, going to therapy means, you just going to therapy because something is wrong.
Exactly.
I've been going to therapy consistently for the past 3 years now. And every time I have an appointment, it's not always because something is wrong.
Exactly.
Sometimes it's to celebrate
Yep.
something,
Definitely.
So, people have to get that mentality of, oh, I need a therapist because, I need help. But no, sometimes having a therapist is just like I look at it like as having a personal cheerleader.
Right.
When things are going good, we talk about that. When things are going bad, we talk about it and we come up with, some exercises to kind of help me cope or get over them. But it's not always all bad. Like, that's a stigma that people have. Going to therapy, something is wrong. No, it's not always bad.
Right, definitely. Definitely get that. All right, so our last question is, what would you say to your younger self if you had the chance to do that right now?
Don't question yourself, just do it.
Definitely.
Like, so many times we, talk ourselves out of things, and we, you know, we don't push ourselves to do the things that's kind of innate for us. Like, there are things that I know for me, certain talents and skills that are unique just for me. And because they're unique, when you're younger, you don't know how to embrace that. So you question it and you think something is wrong with it. And you think, other people are going to find you crazy, but don't question yourself. Just do it.
Right. Definitely get that. That's the best advice. We always say, what if this happened? If I do this, this is going to happen and I'm going to lose out on this. It's definitely something that I would tell myself when I was younger, that just go with the flow, live your life. You're a young woman. You have your whole life to live in front of you. You're supposed to make mistakes now. So in the future, you learn from those mistakes. So definitely love that advice. All right. So I call this section your time. So shout out your social media, shout out your family, do whatever you want to do. If you want some type of words of inspiration to the people that's listening, go ahead. It is the owner of AuCourant Pro Services. It's your time. Go ahead, Calvin.
Well, I'd just like to thank everybody that has supported me, from the likes and the shares on Facebook. It's definitely been a journey since the end of January, beginning of February. I never thought that I would be, a business owner. So it means a lot to have people support me, whether I've, written resumes for you, even if, you just kind of question it and we just talk. It means a lot to me. But at the end of the day, it really, I wouldn't have a service if it wasn't for people to serve.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where it kind of begins and ends. So I thank people for that. So just look me up on Instagram, AuCourant Pro Services, and I'm here if you need me.
Definitely. Thank you. Appreciate you for being on the show. Thank you, everybody, for listening. This won't be the last time me and Calvin talk to each other. I'm pretty sure once you get that career coaching going on, we'll sit down and have some talking about, mental health and things like that. So definitely appreciate you for being on the show. If there's anything that I can do for you, hit me up, let me know.
Thank you for having me on the show.
Definitely. It's a favor for a favor. I always say, promotion from friends and family is the best promotion. If I can't promote you, then why do you expect me to promote, why do I expect you to promote me, So definitely appreciate you. Thank you for coming on the show. This is Impact Baldwin. This is your girl Jay, the realest, the chillest, the illest. Thank y'all. Deuces.
Okay.